a community coming together to find out what the heck happened.
Now at 11, a car plows into a Las Vegas bus stop, sending several people to the hospital. How it happened and why RTC had concerns before. Enough is enough. A community rallies against violence in their streets, who they're recruiting to help stop the bloodshed. And the Runnin' Rebels get back on track. All of your highlights from today's date with San Jose State.
Now, Nevada's first choice for news. This is 8 News Now, Weekend Edition.
Thanks for watching 8 News Now at 11 Weekend Edition. I'm Patrick Walker. Our top story tonight, a driver crashes into a bus stop in the Northwest Valley, hitting a mother and her 2 children. It happened near Lake Mead and Rainbow, and that's where we find Vanessa Murphy tonight, live with the latest details. Vanessa.
Patrick, the driver was headed northbound. You can see the spray paint from the investigation here when police say he lost control, slammed into the bus stop and hit the mother and her 2 kids. Police say the bus bench was actually under the car. Now, we don't have the exact ages of the 2 kids, but we saw a small shoe here. We're told they had minor injuries. Now, the mother was hurt so badly, the team which investigates deadly crashes was here.
It was pretty bad.
A mother and her 2 children waiting for the bus, the victims of a possible DUI driver. Police say he may have been on drugs when he lost control of his SUV, crashed into this bus stop and hit the family.
It was frantic.
This woman, who asked to not be identified, says she saw what unfolded moments after the crash.
People running from across the street, from the parking lot, parked the cars in the middle of the street. They were just running towards the accident.
Police say while the children are being treated for minor injuries, the mother is in a medically induced coma with head trauma and a broken arm and ribs.
Just another bad day on our road. This is not a fatal at this time, and we hope it doesn't become a fatal. But we're out here because of the felony aspect of the call.
The driver is in custody. Sergeant Richard Strader says his female passenger was taken to the hospital for minor injuries.
Totally avoidable. You know, we call this an accident because I'm sure the person didn't intend to go out and do this, but however, when you get behind the wheel of the vehicle when you're impaired, you make that conscious decision to do that.
In 2012, Strader investigated this deadly crash at a bus stop near Spring Mountain and Decatur. A drunk driver killed 4 people and hurt 5 others.
I'm really glad it's not as bad as that. You know, I mean, this is bad. I hate to see any of this happen.
The RTC, which runs the bus system, is making efforts to move bus stops away from the street. A spokeswoman says last year, $2.3 million were spent moving or installing bus shelters to help keep passengers safe. Strader says he's not sure if the outcome would have been different here if the family was waiting for the bus further from the street.
The accident shouldn't have happened if the driver would have controlled their vehicle.
Back here live, you can still see they're doing some cleanup. Now, a spokeswoman for the RTC says she doesn't know if this bus stop has ever been moved or if there are plans to move it. She was unable to get that information for us tonight. And the head of the RTC released a statement which says, in part, "We are saddened to hear about this. Our thoughts are with the individuals and their families during this difficult time. And since this is an ongoing investigation, there's no further comment." Now, this street has been closed for several hours, but we see they are letting cars travel back here. Reporting live, Vanessa Murphy, 8 News Now.
All right, Vanessa, thank you very much. One man was killed in an early morning crash in North Las Vegas, with a preliminary investigation showing a Ford Mustang traveling westbound on Craig Road, hitting a Ford Explorer that was traveling southbound on Simmons Street at about 4:13. The driver of the Explorer died on the scene. Witnesses say he had the green light at the time of the crash. The 17-year-old driver of the Mustang and his 19-year-old passenger were taken to UMC with non-life-threatening injuries. Speed and alcohol are believed to be factors in the case. Charges are pending the conclusion of the investigation. Metro Police are asking for your help with the deadly stabbing investigation. Officers responded to a call at 8:35 this morning of an unresponsive man outside a housing complex near Sagman Street. That's near Bruce in Washington. The man had suffered multiple stab wounds and was declared dead on the scene. The initial investigation indicates that the man was attacked upon entering the courtyard of the complex. This is the 5th homicide of 2015, just 10 days into the year. So far, no suspect has been identified. If you have any any information about this case, well, you never have to give your name when you call Crime Stoppers. The number is 702-385-5555. And the deadly stabbing comes on the heels of a triple shooting yesterday on Terra Avenue near Penwood in Arville. It's been a violent start to the new year, and folks in the community are coming together to say enough is enough.
We know what happened. We've seen it on the news, and we're here to just say, hey, we're not going to stand up for that anymore.
3 people were injured in the shooting that broke out after a fight. It happened outside an apartment complex with several children in the vicinity. Leaders with Rebuilding Every City Around Peace have a continuing message to reduce violent crimes in the valley.
And we want to send a message of nonviolence. We want to send a message of hope, a message of love, a message of courage for those who are in this community to stand up and say this is unacceptable, but also a message of compassion, that we're out here to support these communities.
This was the second rally of its kind already in the new year. Initiative leaders are working to recruit churches and nonprofit organizations to get involved in spreading the message. Meanwhile, Metro detectives are looking for a black SUV that a suspect or suspects may have used as a getaway car. Meanwhile, Metro detectives are looking for a couple of suspects in a December casino robbery. They say the men entered a casino on Las Vegas Boulevard back on December 19th and followed an employee into a secluded area of the hotel. That's where they robbed them. The men then fled the scene. The first suspect is in his 20s, between 5'8" and 5'10", weighing around 200 pounds. The second suspect is estimated to be just 13 to 15 years old, about 5'6" and 110 to 125 pounds. And detectives are still looking for a suspect in a robbery of a business on Flamingo near Spencer Street. They say a man showed the gun and robbed the cash register. The mustache man is between 35 and 45 years old, around 6 feet tall, and weighs between 210 to 250 pounds. If you have any information about either of these crimes, you can call Crime Stoppers. Again, that number 702-385-5555. Well, now to some good news, at least for drivers. 3 gas stations in Las Vegas are now offering gas at under $2 a gallon. Those would be the Costco at Decatur and Rome, at the Smiths at Durango and Elkhorn, and the Arco at Durango and Deer Springs. Several other gas stations are hovering around that $2 mark that drivers have been waiting so long for. Now, you can find the lowest gas prices near you when you go to our website, 8newsnow.com, and enter the keywords gas prices. Definitely like seeing those go down. Well, picking up a big piece. Crews now have the tail of the doomed AirAsia plane, but can it really tell us what went wrong? Why divers still have work to do in the Java Sea? And an international hunt for a terror suspect. How this woman with ties to the attacks in Paris slipped out of the country, and where she could be headed next.
This portion of 8 News Now is brought to you by your Southern Nevada Toyota dealers.
The investigation into the French terror attacks that left 17 victims dead continues tonight. And there was word that a key suspect left the country before the attacks occurred. Also, new allegations that one of the dead terror suspects may have had ties to the so-called underwear bomber. Marie Maloney explains. And additional security measures are planned for a unity rally in Paris tomorrow. 1,100 troops are currently in the Paris region, and about 250 more will be on duty Saturday. Well, recovery crews have pulled the tail section of doomed AirAsia Flight 8501 out of the Java Sea. Teams raised the tail from the water this morning using ropes, slings, and giant airbags. A crane later lifted the tail onto a recovery ship. Divers were investigating sonar pings heard yesterday. The flight data recorders for this make of jet are housed in the tail, but there's no word yet if they were recovered. The flight and 162 people on board disappeared December 28th. Well, are bad apples lurking in your home? We'll tell you which batch that made it to Nevada is being recalled for potentially deadly effects. Plus,
it's not something that most parents think about when they start having problems with their kids.
A major problem in the valley right under our noses. How advocates are bringing attention to human trafficking.
Now, Nevada's first choice for news. This is 8 News Now, Weekend Edition.
Welcome back. It's Human Trafficking Prevention Month, and today an awareness event was held on Fremont Street to rally against the growing problem. Our very own 8 News Now anchor Paula Francis emceed the event.
They face a cruelty that has no place in a civilized world.
The organization Live Free staged a rally with leaders including a flash mob-style group dance by Culture Shock Las Vegas. Volunteers from Break These Chains say human trafficking is happening all over town and right under our noses.
Huge, enormous, beyond belief. Recruiters are even looking in junior high and upper elementary grades. We can't lose those children.
4 clubs are banding together with Break These Chains to raise community awareness and money to help victims of human trafficking. A baby is believed to have been abducted by her birth mother in California. Well, she has been found in Las Vegas. Metro Police located 15-month-old Tulia Leomidi Reed. Law enforcement officers asked the public to be on the lookout for the girl since her New Year's Eve abduction in California. Las Vegas Child Protective Services has the girl in their custody and is arranging her return. Well, the California apple packing plant has recalled all of its Granny Smith and Gala apples shipped from its specific facility in December. Some of the apples from Bittert Brothers, sold under the names Big B and Granny's Best, have been linked to a deadly listeria outbreak. The bacteria may have caused up to 6 deaths and 31 additional illnesses reported across 11 states, including here in Nevada. The disease can contaminate other food in your refrigerator, so if you've purchased any of these apples, officials urge you to sanitize your shelves, your cutting boards, and your countertops. And coming out of that, I don't really know how to transition into weather. Wow, but we can say at least that the weather is starting to transition.
Yeah, the weather is changing. No sour apples here. We might have a couple drops of rain possible tonight before midnight. Not really holding my breath for that, but a better chance tomorrow. As you look outside, we can see plenty of cloud cover. The strip is looking nice and dry, but we are seeing some showers creep into our area. Right now, 56 degrees. Mostly cloudy, winds around 7 miles per hour, and the humidity up to 55%. So that moisture is starting to creep in. At McCarran, 56. Downtown, we're at 55. Summerlin, 51 degrees. The lakes are chilly at 54. Blue Diamond and St. Rose Parkway, 53, 54 respectively. Upper 50s in Green Valley, still holding on there. 49 degrees in Pahrump, so a little chillier tonight than it was last night, but it has been pretty nice for January the past few nights. 56 at Brim, 54 in Searchlight, 55 in Boulder City, and in the 40s in Pahrump. Your 10-hour forecast shows we don't get too much cooler. We bottom out at 47 degrees between 5 and 7 a.m., and then we bounce up to 54 degrees by 11 o'clock. We have showers working their way through that moisture wrapped around southern Nevada. It's all coming really from SoCal, from Los Angeles, moving, inching its way through San Bernardino, and you can see it making its way, starting to make its way into southern Nevada. We said possibly a drop of rain or 2 before midnight. We're seeing some showers up in the higher elevations, but for the most part tonight, pretty dry. The best chance, like I said, tomorrow, late morning. You see the clouds here, the rain and precipitation starting to make its way up from Southern California. 10 a.m. Sunday, we start to see that push through. And then by Sunday night into Monday, that starts to leave us. We get a little bit of a break, and then another disturbance kind of passes by us, skims close enough by us where we'll say maybe a slight chance of rain on Monday as well. And then Tuesday, a nice little drying trend starts, and we have conditions really typical for January. 43 degrees tomorrow in Mount Charleston, maybe a ½ inch of snow picked up from that precipitation. 60 degrees at Lake Mead. Maybe not the best day for a picnic tomorrow. Your PB&J might get a little soggy as we do have that chance of showers throughout from the late morning into the afternoon. Your 7-day forecast reflects that tomorrow and the next day. Low 60s for the rest of the week. Basically where we should be for January. Patrick.
All right, the status quo there. Brian, thank you very much. Well, bullying has been front and center of many of the issues in the Clark County School District, and today 150 CCSD teachers and administrators learned how to prevent bullying in the digital age at a cyberbullying conference. Bullies can feel invincible behind a monitor miles away from the person they are harassing. Their victims often feel helpless to stop the abuse. Identifying a situation can help prevent escalating problems.
I think the bullying gets deeper with the internet and things like that we didn't have when we were growing up.
We get a lot of input from our community support groups because bullying is a community-wide, citywide, statewide, national concern.
Well, as a parent, you can protect your kids from cyberbullying as well. Set up the rules for the family computer. You can use and change your search filters and monitoring software as well. Also read the privacy policies on the websites that your children are using. Well, the Running Rebels needing a confidence booster after a loss to Reno. Things not getting much easier than tonight's game. Here's a hint. Everybody getting in the scorebook for the Rebels. We'll have the highlights coming up. Plus, the Seahawks, they are a step closer to defending their title. They're jumping for joy in the Northwest. Chris Maathuis will show us why coming up. Well, the Running Rebels hosting the league's cellar dwellers tonight. Chris Maathuis promised us UNLV would beat San Jose State, and now you're in to really make good on that promise.
Yeah, Patrick, this was the safest bet in all of Las Vegas, I think, tonight. Yes, indeed. San Jose State, awful basketball team. They'd lost 13 of 14 going into this one, so now UNLV favored by 19.5 points. Didn't take them long to cover that spread. They announced 11,000 fans at the MAC tonight. Oh, that was pretty generous. Let's head off there. I think the fans knew the outcome before they even tipped this thing off. It was one of those nights. San Jose State was able to hang with the Rebels for about 3 minutes. That's when UNLV took off and never looked back. The only complaint in that first half would have to be rebounding. Spartans 12 offensive boards to UNLV's 0. 8 UNLV players scored in the first half. It had 35-20 at the break. Vaughn and Morgan each with 7. Second half, it was all UNLV. They would go on an early 20-2 run and shot out to a 33-point lead. Their biggest was 35. Vaughn wouldn't play much in that second half, didn't need him. Finished with 15 points, 10 rebounds. Spartans couldn't hit a shot, let alone a 3. They were 2 of 19 from beyond the arc, shot just 23% from the field. Rebels hit 9 threes in the game and ended up shooting 56%. Oh, there's Dally Walker, crowd favorite. Fans were heading home early. That's how this one unfolded. UNLV wins it going away, 74-40. Funny, when there's no pressure on the line, UNLV actually hit some free throws, 83% from the line. Everything looks good when you completely overwhelm a lesser opponent, especially coming off that loss to Reno.
I think people can identify when you feel like you've let somebody down. I think they felt like they'd let their coaching staff down. I think we felt like we'd let our players down. We felt like we'd let the fans down. And I think sometimes there's a lot of pressure on new guys from that standpoint. And that's what we all signed up for. But I was glad we were able to bounce back and get a win tonight.
We just took it amongst ourselves to take, that next step and just shut them down. And we knew they was going to try to come in, and knowing they're from Vegas, and they was going to try to come in and do a lot of work. So we just had to stop that.
Attention to details. And that's our biggest problem. I think, going in, focusing on little things, and also just coming out with intensity, day in and day out.
All right, so the easy win. UNLV improves to 10-6 on the season, 1-2 in league play. Things get a whole lot tougher this week, however. UNLV travels to Boise State on Tuesday, and then it's off to San Diego State next Saturday. Second round of the NFL postseason. Down to the Final Four. Packers and Cowboys play tomorrow. Green Bay favored by 6.5. Then in the afternoon, it's the Broncos and Colts. Denver 7.5-point favorites. You can watch that game right here on Channel 8 beginning at 1:40. But that play is terrific. When was the last time you saw that? Didn't touch the soul, jumps the line, and almost blocked him.
And that's what makes it clean. And you know what? Those two big games coming up tomorrow, those are going to be excellent. So, hey, maybe 3 out of 4 really good football games for this weekend NFL
we'll
playoffs.
Keep our fingers crossed, won't we?
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. Well, a TV reporter may be having some regrets after quitting her job to work with weed. Why this viral video sensation was back in court this week. Stay with us.
Now, Nevada's first choice for news. This is 8 News Now, Weekend Edition.
And as for this job, well, not that I have a choice, but it, I quit.
Oh, not the most proud moment in broadcast history. You may remember that video from September when that Alaska TV reporter quit her job live on the air just like that to become a marijuana activist, and tonight she may be wishing she had that job back. Her landlords took her to court yesterday fighting for her eviction. They told the judge that Green had held loud parties and served illegal alcohol in her cannabis club. After some heated testimony, the judge evicted the pot club for not having the necessary insurance coverage, and the club has to vacate the premises by Monday, so I guess one more day there. Well, the celebration of Elvis Presley continued today. The King would have turned 80 on Thursday, so employees and guests of the Las Vegas Ski and Snowboard Resort got all dressed up and did their best Elvis impersonations. Katie Martin took home the award for Best Costume for rocking this red jumpsuit. Looking good.
We should get a little dusting of snow for tomorrow if you want to head out.
There you go. Looking forward to it. We'll see you later.